Hi, this is Sally, and today is day 27 of my weight loss journey. Okay, so just a rundown. Today was a full day for me. I had classes starting from 11 to about 6:30 p.m. with about 1.5 hours of break in between. So I started this day with yogurt and a bee pollen with flaxseed oil. I put coconut oil inside as well. Coconut oil is great to regulate the metabolic rate, is great for the brain, it's brain food, and also it helps satiate any hunger pangs. But anyway, after eating my concoction with yogurt, I felt pretty full, but I still went ahead with my supplements because I knew that I wasn't going to have any lunch. And also because of the coronavirus scare, so I'm just having more immunity boosters with me. So I had my Propo Plus, my vitamin C, I had my superfoods kelp and spirulina. So that was breakfast plus. So after that, I went to the office after the first class and after the second class. So after the second class was about 4:30. No, sorry. After the second class was 3:30. So I knew that I would be hungry about that time. But the office snacks weren't for me. They were mostly processed food, or they were instant noodles, right? So this time round I was slightly more prepared. I think the last time I wasn't so prepared. I think earlier on, I think 2 Saturdays ago, I was hungry, so I caved and I took instant noodles. And then last Saturday, one of my colleagues actually bought white bread with butter and sugar, white sugar for me, and I couldn't say no. So I mean, he really bought it for me, right? So this week, I prepared my packet of colostrum. So colostrum is like the pre-milk from cows. It's actually meant for the calves. So that's the milk that comes out, and it's the most nutritious. Someone was telling me it's pre-milk. It's not really milk in the sense that we know it. So it actually has additional immunity boosters. Now, generally, I used to be vegetarian. I have never really bought into the vegan idea, although I do see some of the logic, and I think part of it. I mean, this is just personal, okay? So it's just personal. And it's just my opinion and how I view things. Okay, so you are free to disagree politely and civilly. So anyway, I think I don't really fancy the way the vegan puts the message across, and it is a hard message to put across because slaughterhouse are really atrocious. I think it is really cruel the way they actually kill the animals. So it is really tough for people who are actually, for me, I try to avoid the videos because I feel very upset when I know that I will feel very upset when I watch it. But I do watch a little bit, so I don't want to say that I'm ignorant about it. So of course, I think the vegan activists who are into all that, they are probably very compassionate people. And sometimes I wish people were as compassionate, about pro-life issues. But anyway, so both are terrible. But okay, but anyway, abortion, I mean, is terrible, not being pro-life. But so anyway, I guess vegans, when they see that, it's a very tough message, and they get very emotionally invested, and the anger and the injustice about all this just comes out, and it is vomited, so to speak, onto the person they are trying to evangelize or share their message with. And so this poor person is there, he's a meat eater, right? And then he gets all this emotional baggage, for lack of a better word, and he was like, what's up? And so these people that they're trying to get the message to, they're trying to educate, gets very defensive. So I am one of the easier audience. Like, I used to be vegetarian, and I became that way because I was in a spiritual retreat, and it just dawned on me that I didn't want to eat. So no one actually told me, My sister was a vegetarian. She tried to tell me. I didn't really buy into it. It was just a realization that I came up with. But I would very much imagine that if someone were to force me and shame me into the message, my ego would have probably resisted. And even though I know that it's my ego who's resisting, I would still resist, right? Because I just don't like being forced, right? I just want to know. And I think the way that we deliver messages is pretty important. So anyway, I personally, I do not eat beef. I have decided not to eat beef. But if I happen to, I won't get devastated about it. But as far as I can, I avoid eating beef. So no steak, no fast food, no nothing, right? Anyway, I don't want to eat fast food because weight loss and hormones and stuff like that. Yeah, and I also avoid pork as far as possible. That is a bit more difficult being in a Asian culture. There's a lot of soup that uses pork as a base. But if possible, I'll try to avoid pork. So the only meat that I tend to eat is actually chicken and fish, right? And even then, for weight loss, I try to avoid that because it's very hormone laden. So in my food schedule, I only have a full chicken meal, whether it's like KFC, as or Four Fingers. We have one for Four Fingers, both are deep fried. So I kept it to once a month. So that's what's happening. Anyway, so back to my story. So at about 3:30, I was getting a bit hungry, so I got my colostrum, and I had one packet of it, so it's just like a glass of milk. And I continued with class, and on my way back, so by the time I ended class at 6:30 and then got onto the bus on the way back, it took me about an hour, and I was getting really hungry. I could feel a dark ache in my stomach. So my plan, I had actually planned this, right? I talked about planning yesterday, and I had initially wanted to take yogurt because I just made a new batch this morning. So I wanted to have my yogurt, and I was thinking, great, I would just bypass all the carbs today. I'm so busy, I didn't have to eat. But the problem was when I stopped working, and because it was a full day, I did use a lot of energy. So I was hungry, and I couldn't emotionally, I couldn't take it just having yogurt. And I didn't have any more fruits. I just finished my fruits yesterday. So it's quite important to have a reservoir of easy snacks on standby. So in the end, I went for my usual economical rice with the half bowl, and I felt quite glad. I mean, I was happy after I finished the meal, which was great, right? So when I ate it, I tried to eat the food first, like the veg, and then I ate a little bit of rice, to try to get myself fuller, so maybe I might avoid the rice a bit more. But it was already reduced at half bowl. And like I mentioned earlier in my previous videos, it's quite important that everything is sustainable. So I do not want to actually cut off carbs totally. I am against the keto diet. Maybe I just quickly share, right? So the keto diet philosophy, simply put, is to totally avoid carbs and just to eat proteins, right? So generally, energy can also so the idea is to eat proteins the body needs to burn in order to produce energy for daily activities, and so they will actually look to your fats in order to burn it, and that's how you slim down, right? So the problem with this is when you starve your body of fats and carbs, right, the moment you take any fats or carbs in, you would store it as fats. It will not get burned, and this is because you have trained your body to feel that there is not enough carbs in the world, and therefore every carbs or fats that comes into the body is so precious that they cannot afford to burn it, and so they store it as carbs, right? So I know of this theory after I spoke to a friend who was on a keto diet for a couple of months. And the first, not friend but acquaintance, so the first time I met this acquaintance, I was thinking, my goodness, she's really obese, I felt, right? Her tummy was protruding out, her shirt could not even cover her stomach. So, and then she told me that actually previously she was on a keto diet for a couple of months, and she said it was great. She lost 28 kg. I thought that is fantastic. Then I was looking at her and said, so what happened? So I was thinking like, what happened to you? You're so obese now, right? So I didn't say that. Then I said, oh, but what happened? You know? And then she said it was impossible to keep to the keto diet lifelong. It's totally impossible to not eat carbs for the rest of your life. So she said the moment she got off her keto diet and her salads, she put on weight very rapidly, so rapidly. She put on what she lost and even more. In fact, now she is obese, you know. And I think the whole keto diet actually, yeah, it does help you lose weight, but it really disrupts your body chemistry. So you don't know what the long-term effects are. Right, and also the body not only burns fats in order to produce the energy, it also burns muscles, you know. So if you're wanting to look toned and all that, is not really the way to go. Of course, when you eat protein through meat and all, it does build muscles, but it also, you know, burns muscles in that sense. So if you're eating salads, it probably it really wouldn't work for you. You probably need a bit more meat for that. And also the other thing is that when your body burns muscles, it goes through a more toxic process in terms of burning muscle as it would in terms of burning fats, because it is not as natural a process. Yeah, I don't really know the biological terms for it. Yeah, so I think it was great that, you know, as I was trying to think about should I eat my rice, I didn't feel as guilty, because I remembered that I do not want to be on a keto diet, and therefore I definitely need carbs in my food schedule. It's just a matter of how much, and I want to reduce it. And I think your body actually tells you when they're feeling weak and when they're feeling unhappy. You know, like I can tell that although I can have all the yogurt I want, you know, but even if I'm full, and even and it's nutritious, right? But sometimes my body says I want something in Chinese, 热, heaty. You know, I need something that is not cold. So yeah, so I just want to actually share that when you go on a diet, and when I say go on a diet, it's not just cutting down the food, it's actually eating the right food that addresses your hormonal imbalance issues and your metabolic rate. And also, you know, to keep it as natural as possible, you know, in the sense of still having your carbs, but only what type of carbs. So I think next week what I am looking for is to actually have more sweet potatoes, so that will actually give me the energy without the sugar spike. I think that's a healthier way to consume carbs. The only problem is I tried that before, like making potato, like I can't cook, so I just toasted my potato. It tasted weird, right? So, but I think learning to cook is actually a necessary skill if you want to do weight loss. So that's what I may be looking at next week. And I think I think maybe sometime late next week. I'm just waiting for my paycheck to come in order to buy a movement exercise program called GMB. Yeah, and I hope to actually use that to strengthen my muscles, so that it's not only the weight loss, but that I look good and toned at the end of the process, and something that I can actually carry on as part of my healthy lifestyle even beyond the 12 weeks. Yeah, so this is my sharing for today, and I hope that you enjoyed it. I love to hear comments, and I'll see you in the next video.